Hello and welcome to the StrongCast, where it is our goal to help you perform without limitations. We chat with athletes, experts, and innovators to get their insights in optimizing the movement experience. I'm your host, Dr. Neil Toussaint. Welcome to the StrongCast, where we talk all performance and longevity. We are joined for number 15 with Dom Lewis.
Number 15. Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you. So let's just kind of get right into it. First thing I would ask is you to introduce yourself to those who want to know who you are.
Well, my name is Dominique Lewis. I go by Dom. The internet knows me as Domitrick or Dom-I-Trick. I'm a professional tumbler, martial arts tricker, and I do all the fun acrobatic stuff that you see online with, cool people like Neil here.
And that's a big thing I want to get into, like how you got into this whole influencer thing and all that. But first, I just want to hear about your background, like how you even got started in movement, and then just go from there.
Okay. Well, as a kid, I actually did martial arts. A lot of people that see me online now just think like I did gymnastics or tumbling and stuff, which I never actually did. Like completely self-taught in that realm. I did martial arts as a kid for a while, but I saw a neighbor do a backflip once when I was 4 years old, and that's what got me hooked into acrobatics instantly. So I grew up training on grass and concrete for the first 12 years of my life, 14 years? 12 years. I started when I was 4, and my first time stepping foot in a gym, I was 16 years old, and I went to an open gym, and I'm like, yo, I can fly. This is insane. So it was my first time stepping on a spring floor and legitimate trampolines and stuff, and got me hooked from there. So I just stuck with it and found a new passion with it and stuff. So I went to school, went to college and everything, got a business degree, but while doing that I was still training on the weekends, and then on the summer I was training with my teammates back home in Michigan. We were going to sessions until 4 a.m. sometimes, training from 9 to 4, and just turned it into a passion and a career path. And it definitely wasn't something I thought would be a career path, more so just a hobby, and then it turned out it's my life.
When did that shift happen? When was it suddenly there's opportunities in this?
It started, I still remember the year. It was 2015, and I had done my first viral video, the sitting handspring video.
Right.
And it was some cheerleading company had reached out to me, and they're like, hey, we want to send you some merch if you want to do some flips in it. And I'm like, oh yeah, why not? So it was Flippin' Amped was the name of it, and I was wearing this blue tank top, and I was just recording a video for them to promote their merch, and didn't think something was going to come from it.
Right.
And then the next day, Fox Sports had reached out, and they did a whole segment on me, and then all of a sudden it was Red Bull and all kinds of, it snowballed so quickly.
Yeah.
And it was weird because it wasn't the normal platform. Most people, when they blow up on stuff, it starts on Instagram or YouTube or something like that, and it was on Facebook of all things, which is crazy. And so it started on Facebook, and then it just melded into everything else too, which was pretty cool. But it was something I hadn't planned on. I'm just posting my normal content like I normally do, and then turns out people happen to really like it, and I'm like, all right, this is interesting. So I just keep doing what I was doing before. It's just a few more eyes on me now.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
So one of the main things I want to ask you is how you train, how you maintain your body, and how you maintain your athleticism, but also how you do that while traveling, because I feel like that's a different piece that not many have done as much as you in this community.
Yeah.
Because of all these opportunities, maybe you could tell us about why you're traveling so much. Maybe start with that.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm traveling year-round, almost weekly. I'm on a plane normally at least once a week. This year I'm trying to cut that down a little bit just to focus more on the health side and actual longevity of a career, because flying every week, sitting in this position for hours a couple times a week is just not good for your body.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable. And I want to continue as an athlete, so I need to back off of that a little bit and focus more on training. And my normal training would be just going to the gym, having a certain plan of what I want to do, always warming up and then stretching, getting done with whatever skills I want to do, and then just kind of messing around. One thing I like to do is just feed off of others' energy at the gym. And so when people are working on things, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to kind of work on that too.
Yeah.
And it could be something that I've never tried before. It could be something that I'm already super good at, but it's still I want to just kind of, I thrive better when I'm not training alone and by like training with other people, and I like to train whatever they're training also. So I'll get my stuff done. I always have my goals, of course, but like, I don't know, it makes it more interesting when you go there and you're just like, you don't even know what you're going to work on sometimes. It's like, I just want to work on random stuff, and it just makes it more fun and keeps it interesting, I think. You don't get bored that way. So yeah, the stretching is super important to me, so I always stretch before and after, and of course warming up before stretching. And then I do a lot of recovery stuff too. So like compression boots I find super important. I've had a couple surgeries on my left leg, and I know that like after my knee surgery, the compression boots helped out a ton.
Nice.
I noticed a big difference just with like the regaining flexibility and like proper blood flow in that area helped out a lot, and with the boots. Massage guns I do a lot, and then I do a lot of chiropractic and massage therapy, just things that I think most athletes, if not just like everyone in general, should be thinking about, because you know, this is you get one body to live with in your whole life.
Totally.
You gotta take care of it, because if you don't, then I mean, you don't want it to be too soon to where you can't, you know, still accomplish things and accomplish goals, especially with what we're doing. Like you gotta. I'm 30. I'm getting older naturally, so I don't want to speed that up in any way. I want to try to slow that down. So I think a lot of the rehab and recovery stuff is good.
Nice.
Prehab.
Yeah, and so like, what are you doing when you're traveling specifically? Like, are there routines that you kind of fall into if you're traveling week to week and you're training a bunch, which I know you do, and in like gathering to gathering or event to event?
Yes.
Like, how do you maintain yourself between those periods too?
That's where it gets really tricky and really hard. So last year, a lot of the traveling I was doing wasn't even for acrobatic stuff, which made it really difficult. But normally, when I'm traveling and I know that I'm traveling for a specific event and stuff, like I make sure, like I said, like doing all my rehab, prehab stuff. But depending on where I'm going, I need to adapt to that place. So a lot of times when I spend time in like Lake Tahoe, which is a crazy high elevation, when I'm there, like I don't go right into training. I need to make sure that I'm drinking a ton of water, stretching, and like making sure I can actually catch my breath before I'm doing any form of training, because it's just not healthy. And so like just adapting to wherever I'm going is super important. And kind of traveling all over the world, you get a lot of different like atmospheres and different just environmental stuff. Aside from being in a new place, it's like there's a lot of other factors into it. And so it's just, I don't know, I find it important to just kind of have like pre-sessions almost, especially when going to events and gatherings and stuff. A lot of people want to just jump right in and like go hard, and it's like, nah. Normally the first day is super light. I'm adapting to the floor, because it's floors are different like everywhere. So you get like cheer type of floors, gymnastic floors, rod floors, or just like straight up puzzle mats. And so you got to adapt to that stuff, and it's important to kind of ease into it and not just go right into it. And that's what a lot of athletes do, is like I get it, it's the adrenaline, it's the rush, like whoa, I'm at an event, I'm trying to go hard right away, I want to show off what I got, and I want to like vibe with all these guys that are throwing down hard stuff. But I'm at an age now where I'm more of a veteran into it, where I'm like I understand, and I know that like day one is the most important day to just chill. You just want to chill, just watch, stretch, mess around a little bit, but don't go ham. And that's my biggest thing, I guess I'd say, is just training smart when I'm traveling.
Yeah, no, that's huge. That is really good advice, and that's exactly what I do when I go to events, gatherings. If I have the opportunity to, I like to go the day before. Yeah. Just so that way, on the first day of the event, I'm ready to train, ready to do all that. But it's super important to respect that you've traveled and how much energy that takes, because it doesn't seem like a lot of energy with what we do. It's like we're doing crazy flips and stuff, but no matter who you are, traveling takes it out of you.
It does.
And you're in this position, like you said, for so long. And you're stiff, and you're not ready to go yet. And so just respecting that. And that's why I made this like travel mobility program. Like it's like 5-minute snippets. It's like before you leave, you could do a 5-minute little stretch and all that, and then you do one basically right before the session, like a pre-session thing, and then like a warm-up if you're trying to actually train versus like just getting to the gym. So I think it's super important to do all that.
One thing that I really have always appreciated about Hooked is like over the years going there, like they normally have all the guests and stuff come in early, like a few days early. Yeah. And I always loved that, because they would always have like the warm-up sessions, they'd call it, which was like a couple days before the gathering. So everyone's acclimated to the gym and ready to go by the time the actual gathering starts, which I think is dope. And I know it's logistically not that easy for most gatherings to be able to do that.
Right.
So it's awesome that Hooked is able to. And that's something I've always appreciated about it. But if it is possible, I think events should definitely like take advantage of that and make, because I mean it just keeps everyone safer and ready to go when the actual, like when things are ready to throw down, everyone's ready and not having to worry about crazy warm-ups and adapting to the new floor and like possibly getting hurt because they don't know the floor, or like they just haven't stretched properly and warmed up and acclimated to wherever they're at. So
Yeah, no, good point.
good job, Hooked.
So actually just going off that real quick, because why not? What do you think that is a thing that gatherings and events in general can do to take care of their athletes outside of what you just said, which is just giving it an extra day?
Outside of that, just making sure that there is enough time to do certain things like warm up and stretch, because there are sometimes, again, like logistically, not everyone has the opportunity to have like extra stuff going on outside of it, but to take care of the athletes, especially physically, like just making sure that there's healthy, good food, just like snacks, like bananas, granola bars, stuff like that to have, and obviously water, which most gatherings do a very good job of, but I think that's like something super important just to keep people energized. So water and like light snacks and stuff like that, but aside from that, extra time allotted to actually warm up and like properly build up to throwing down crazy. And then another thing is just like making sure there's adequate space or places to sleep. Because I mean, like younger, I remember when I first started tricking, like I didn't care. I'd sleep anywhere if I slept at all at a gathering.
Yeah.
But now like we're getting older, we need the sleep, especially if we're going to be like training and throwing down. And so I think that that's another important thing, is just like making sure there's somewhere for athletes to actually get proper rest, because that is hard to do at a gathering when there's crazy loud music, the floor is constantly bouncing, it's loud, which is dope, but like if you do want to get away, there should be a place to be able to do that,
Right.
you know?
Totally.
Which again, a lot of gatherings are really good about, but sometimes you're just kind of stuck, and it's draining, but.
Totally, yeah. I would love to see tricking events in the future structured like that, because I think you hit on the most important ones, like the having time to acclimate and sleep are essential. And if you don't have those things, you're gonna feel pretty terrible moving, and you wonder why gathering injuries are so much higher than other times of the
sessions,
year of training, of sessions and all that. And the other thing is battles, of course, which I think we'll leave that topic for another day.
That's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, that's a whole other situation.
Yeah.
But quick question: what is your favorite either exercise, drill, or workout that you like to do? Like it could even be a drill that helps your tricks, or anything that people can kind of get behind and start doing.
So aside from
helped you the most.
Yeah, aside from stretching, because I mean I love stretching. So aside from stretching. Oh, that's a good one. I do really enjoy, there's a drill that I do when I'm coaching too, called mousetrap drill. Okay. And now not everyone will have the availability to do this, but if you have an 8-inch mat, like a 8-incher at a gymnastics gym, or I mean even if you have your own mattress, as long as when you smack onto it, it doesn't you don't bottom out. But there's a drill that I like to do that helps build a lot of power. Okay. And with my tumbling and tricking, I'm very power based. And with the sitting handspring and stuff like that, this is a drill that I've used to teach people how to do sitting handsprings, or how to properly be explosive with backward tumbling. And it's just a drill where you sit in a pike position, straight up and down, and the 8-inchers behind you. And then when you smack down onto it, the goal is to make as much noise as possible when you're hitting it, meaning you're hitting it really hard and just smacking down onto it, lifting your hips up and just getting into more of an arch shape and holding that shape. And I love doing that because it teaches people how to properly build a lot of momentum and speed from pretty much nothing. Okay. Which I find important with someone of my body style. I need that speed and momentum to properly throw down, because I'm a bit heavier, and if I was moving slow, it would get kind of dangerous, I think. Right. So just drills and things that help with explosive power I really enjoy, and I like teaching.
I'm gonna film that, and so everyone can see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I want to do it.
It's a dope one. You're gonna like it. It's fun.
Is that why? I was gonna ask you this anyway, but is that why you find double A so easy? Like, why do you find double A so easy? You just do it.
Okay, so there are a few reasons behind it, I think, for me. With double layouts, my double layouts are super low and really fast. So I treat them more like almost like double whips. If those of you watching know what whips are, they're pretty much like back handsprings with no hands. But I like to do them low and fast because it's easy to tumble out of. I can see a lot better because I'm constantly looking at the floor as I'm flipping.
Yeah.
And so I can see when I need to put my feet down, and it makes it easier to tumble out of. Now with double backs, I normally tend to go higher because I'm setting higher.
Right.
And when I land, it's a lot more impact, and I'm heavy. And so when I land with a double back, that impact is a lot more jarring on my ankles and my knees and my lower back than when I'm doing a double lay and landing with my feet slightly in front of me where I can go right into a handspring or something else.
Right.
And so with that, I can continue to build momentum and speed and do fun stuff out of it, whereas with a double back, it's normally like the end of the combo.
Right.
Because when I'm landing, I'm like, damn, that kind of hurt. So yeah, that's the main reason. And it just feels free. Like,
Yeah,
it feels so good to just be like in this position. Like,
yeah, it's nice. It's cool to see.
Yeah, and there are fewer factors to mess up with. Like with double back, like there's always that opportunity to slip, and if one hand slips, then you're done. If both hands slip, you're done. So I don't know. It's just it does take a lot of skill, and it takes a lot of balls. But I feel like a lot more people could do them if they tried them. It's just most people are kind of scared.
Yeah. Well, what's a good progression to doing it? From like, let's say you have double back, because obviously you should.
Right. So So how I started doing them is I would do double backs. I used to do double backs a lot, and now I rarely do them. But I would start doing open double backs without actually grabbing. So I would work on setting and driving my knees in fast enough to where that would get me over. And then, I mean, I obviously love whips.
That seems scarier than a double lay. So you're just doing a double back but not holding.
Yeah. So I mean, you're still setting, you're still bringing your arms over,
Right.
but you aren't actually grabbing.
Right.
And then you work on opening it up more and more,
Right.
and then eventually your body will straighten out.
And this isn't a pit, or?
I don't do pits. I've
Okay.
always been scared of pits. My
Yeah.
whole foam pits, because of the fact that growing up training on grass and concrete, I like a harder surface. It doesn't need to be like that hard, but I feel most comfortable when I know what I'm landing on. Whereas when I land in a pit or something and I can't feel when my feet hit, I'm almost way more lost than if I'm doing it on the floor.
I know what you mean.
But I'll do it onto resis and stuff, like resis with like a panel mat or something, just so I can feel a good landing, but it's still soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's how I started. It was onto stuff like that. Never into pits really. But I mean, if that's what someone is more comfortable doing, absolutely do it. I love what pits do for people, and I think people should utilize them if they feel safe and they like doing it.
Yeah.
I think they're great to progress into skills and learn air awareness. But for me personally, I just never really liked pits just because I didn't like landing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, cool. So shift a little bit. What do you think is the most challenging time you've had in your career? What's the biggest obstacle you've had to face? Whether it's skill-based or career-based or anything like that.
I feel like this one will resonate with most athletes.
Yeah.
Injuries, of course.
Yeah.
And so there have been times I've had a few pretty serious ones. The biggest being I've shattered my left ankle twice, and at one point had screws put in.
Okay.
And so I lost so much mobility with my ankle.
Right.
And that was just this is devastating. How am I gonna ever train again, right? At properly trained. And so I was you know what, I'm just gonna try to make the best out of this. So I had a boot on for a long time, and I would go to gatherings with the ankle still in, or with the screws still in my ankle.
Yeah.
And I would train, but that's how I got good at swing. So that's how I got really good at gainer switches, because this is my swing leg.
Yeah.
And so I started just practicing swing skills, because I'm well, I can't use this leg and slam it down, so I might as well work with what I got.
Right.
And I feel that's something that a lot of athletes need to know and understand, is that we run the risk of injury, and it's likely going to happen, whether it be serious or not, and work with what you got and work with what has happened, but work safely. And so, I mean, keep training and keep your body moving, but obviously do it in a safe way to where you can still heal, but not lose your mind and lose your physicality with your skills. And yeah, so the ankle, and then my knee, I've messed up. I had a surgery there too, and that one was a good 6 months out, but that's definitely always the hardest part, because I can't really work as much doing traveling, coaching. I can't do as many private lessons, clinics, and seminars, at least initially when you're first hurt. Once you can start moving around again a little bit, you can still do the work side of it, but training is obviously a bit harder.
Yeah.
But you just got to work with it and properly strengthen back up whatever you hurt and work through it, you know.
How'd you do either of them? Or you got the ankle and then you got the, was it a meniscus?
It was a partial meniscus tear. So with the knee, what happened was I was at a lock-in at a trampoline park in Tennessee. So this was back when I was still, like when grav was still a thing, gravitated equations. And I was touring around for them pretty much and promoting grav. So I was taking merch to different trampoline parks all over the country, doing lock-ins and just like throwing down, hanging out with the kids all night and just flipping around, which isn't necessarily safe for someone at my age to be like 4 a.m. and all these kids still have all this energy and I'm like, they're like, do another double layout or do this and do this, and it's like, I'm gonna get hurt. And so how this actually happened was, if you know what Zorb balls are, the blow up bubble balls.
Like that you're in?
Yes, but the ones where your legs are exposed and you can run and like hit each other. It was one of those, and we were doing like a Zorb ball like tackle competition. And the DJ at the event, DJ Fabuloso, he Fabian, I'm still want to punch you. So we were doing that, and so like obviously the kids wanted to go against me first, and I'm like, I don't know, that's not very safe for the kids because they're gonna get launched.
Yeah.
Like I'm fast, I'm big, but I'm very fast, and so I did. With a couple of the kids, just like, you know, running, hitting, and it was all fun. And then Fabian, who's like more my size, we did it, and everything was all good. The second time we did it, I had hit him and I went down low, and he was up higher, so he flew up. But when I hit him and I was down low, I fell straight back. Yeah. But my left leg was turned like this and behind me, so I fell back onto it like this in this big bubble, and there was nothing I could do.
Yeah, you have no hands or anything.
And so it was like 4 a.m. and I had to, like, thank God they had crutches there. So I had to get on crutches and crutch myself out to the car, go to the hospital, and get whatever I could checked out, and then hop on a flight 3 hours later to Atlanta. So I flew here from there, and I had just gotten hurt, and it was just so stupid. It's always like stupid things that can be avoided is where like the most serious injuries come from. Yeah. And like same thing with my ankle and I broke my sternum twice too, which is also stupid.
Twice?
Yeah, twice. Jeez. But they're always preventable injuries. So my left ankle, the first time when I had to have screws put in it, I was on a trampoline and I was working at a gymnastics center in my, like where I went to college in my college town. And so I was coaching there for the 4 years while I was at school. And in between my classes, and I'd have a little break. I'm like, oh, you know, I'm gonna flip around and just mess around a little bit. And I was still young. I was like 19, so I'm like young and having fun and just not really thinking too much. And I was training on the trampoline. I was doing a hyper double, like I was doing double cork hyper, but from a helicopter. So I was like spinning like this with my arms out. And when I landed on my left foot, my foot stayed still, but my body kept spinning. And somehow, thank God, my knee had the strength to hold. Right. So my body kept spinning as my foot's dipping into the trampoline. My body's spinning, and my foot's still going down. So my ankle just did this. Sheesh. Thankfully, that and not my knee. But yeah, and that was bad. That was miserable. And then right after the surgery, I went to the first Neo, which was So I was in a boot. Yeah, so it was right after. It was like a week after surgery. So I was in my boot and stuff, and fresh out of surgery, which is the first time I broke my sternum. Actually, was at Neo 1.
Wait, at this same gathering you just went to a week later?
Yeah. So I had no business doing any training. So this is where I'm saying, like, this is where you want to train smart, and like this is how I've learned this. I mean, everyone should know to train smart, but it's one of those, like, I was young, stupid, and I was still somewhat fresh into tricking, and I was like, it was the gathering hype. It's the first Neo. Like it was just crazy. Yeah. And I got I'm like, well, I can't do much. So I was doing swings, and then I was on the trampoline a bit and putting more pressure on my right leg, you know. But Phil Gibbs was there, and he's like, oh, you know, you have really good and high double layouts and double backs on the trampoline. Why don't you try a triple back? And I'm like, okay, duh.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was so stupid. And so here I am jumping all lopsided because I'm a week out of surgery on my ankles, just had screws put in there, and I'm jumping, and then I go for triple back, and I made like one of the most like vital mistakes to never make. I closed my eyes. Okay. And so I'm sitting there doing this, and then when it was too late and I realized, like, I opened up, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, that's the trampoline. So I tucked my head in, and I hit like the back of my head, and my body folded around like on my stomach, and so did this, pulled a bunch of muscles here, and my chin popped my sternum.
Wow.
That was the first time. Yeah.
Dude, you know what's crazy about that is like, when I first started tricking, I tried to get like a really high backflip. Like it was 6 months in, and I stalled too much. I stared in front of me too much, and I landed right just like that.
That's the worst.
And I couldn't breathe for like weeks. I went to the hospital. They X-rayed me, and they were like, "Yeah, it's just blunt chest trauma. It usually happens from car accidents and stuff." And
no big deal.
No problem. But yeah, the same landing.
Yeah.
I got my sternum too, but I don't think I broke it. But it definitely still cracks here and there.
Does it see? Mine still pops sometimes, and I'll feel it like it'll get really tight, and then I'm like, it's like almost like a sharp pain, and then when I do this and it pops, it feels so good.
Same, and it's in the exact spot I hit my chin. So I'm like wondering.
You might have cracked it. You probably had like a small fracture in there. Yeah,
could have, because it took me a couple weeks till I was brave enough to tell my dad to.
He's wondering why you're walking around breathing really shallow. And you're terrified to sneeze or cough. You're just like,
definitely. Dude, that's an insane story, man.
And then I'll make this one a lot faster.
No, you're good.
My left ankle, the second time I broke it, this was at Hooked.
Yeah.
And it was Slava's birthday.
Okay.
And it was just such a fun but bad combination of events. So it's his birthday, so we're like, let's pregame and let's party and drink. So we're all drinking at the Trigger House in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
In like the warehouse spot. And then we all decide to go out. And this was like after the gathering had pretty much, it was over. And so this was on like a Sunday night or Monday night. And it's Amsterdam, so everyone's still out partying every night of the week. Yeah. And so we decide, let's go out. And obviously, like, there are groups of trickers from all over the world there at the gathering.
Right.
And so as you're walking around out and about at night, you'll randomly see, oh, that's a tricker. I recognize him. It's like a group from Spain or like a group from Japan. And like you just randomly bump into them on the streets there.
Right.
And so we were at a nightclub celebrating Slava's birthday. And Nacho Castillo from Spain challenged me to a battle in the middle of a club. And we're hammered. Like it's already like, it's way past gone. Like already stumbling. And I'm like, no problem. Let's do it. And so this is where it got really crazy because my pants, I was like, my jeans are too tight. So I took them off and I was in my underwear and I'm like, let's do this. So we're battling in a nightclub and there's like a circle around us and I'm in my underwear and I'm just all hyped up. And so he like, I don't remember exactly what his first thing was that he did. And then I had done like Scoop Valdez double full or something. And so we're just going back and forth in the little amount of space we have. And then I remember him doing swings. I think he did like 2 or 3 like corks. And I'm like, all right, well, this was back when I still had the gainer switch world record. I'm like, I'm about to gainer switch my way out of this building. And so I made it to maybe 3 gainer switches, but I was drifting and people just moved out of the way and I kicked a wooden table. And when I kicked the table, it was like this, but it has like just like this with the groove underneath.
Oh,
but it was a big, heavy wooden table and my foot just went right there and it went, oof, snapped my ankle for the second time. I didn't know until the next day, like we were like at the point now where like we're blacked out. Yeah, it's bad. Don't do this at home. Don't do this anywhere. Don't black out. Just don't drink. Actually, don't drink. And so we go back to the Trigger House and stuff, and I wake up to I have to catch my flight.
Yeah.
I wake up and I stand up and I instantly fall over. Not like I was like in tears and I'm like what is going on? And I look and I have like gigantic calves,
You do. Yeah, good.
My ankle was the same size as my calf, but it was like galaxy purple. It was like purple and like blue. It was just the craziest colors, and I'm like, what happened to me? And I completely had forgotten. And then I had to get thank God, Danny or Laurent, like one of the hosts had crutches there. They gave me these crutches. They had to rush me to the airport. I was late for my flight because I'd set through an alarm because it was just such a bad. It was like a crazy experience, but they were running me through the airport. One of the airport staff running me through the airport in a wheelchair to catch my flight, and I was the last person on the plane. It was insane. This was Hook 2015.
I feel like everyone needs to take a second after that story.
Yeah.
That was a wild ride.
There's been a lot that people just don't know about. They don't see like online stuff, but there's a lot that goes on in our lives, in the tricking world especially. We've done a lot of fun but stupid stuff for sure.
Definitely. So the moral of the story is your major injuries have come as a result of carelessness.
Yeah, just
I didn't want to say it like that, but
no, that's exactly what it is.
That's what it is.
And so that's why now when I'm like teaching kids and stuff, or when I get asked by other people who are like just beginning in their acrobatic journey, no matter what age, they always ask like, what is one big piece of advice? And I always tell them like, just train smart, like be smart about how you're training, make sure you're taking care of your body, stretch and stuff, and just don't be stupid. Like just don't do things you know you have no business doing.
Right.
And like those were situations where I had some of them, like the Zorb ball thing, it could have happened to anybody, but like the trampoline thing, I shouldn't have even been doing stuff like the triple back. I had no business doing that.
That was
crazy.
In a boot,
and I initially got in the boot. I had no business jumping on the trampoline and training in the 5-minute break I had before I had to go and grab my next class for the gymnastics. And so like and then the other one obviously drinking and training or battling in a club. No, just no business doing it. But it's like, living, learning experiences, and the best I can do is tell others about it and like just learn from my own experience.
1000%. And like, a lot of those stories were insane, but I mean, everyone's going to be pretty much, I'm not going to say that everyone's been doing exactly that. I have not gone that far, but maybe in my own way. But I mean, it's hard to be on guard at all times, and it's like, you don't want to remove the fun from what we're doing.
Exactly.
But at the same time, look at how like gymnasts are training and things like that. Like, I'm sure they're still having a good amount of fun with the skills that they have. And they're training it a little bit more intelligently. So I'm just asking for us to kind of look into those avenues, because I think that there's a lot for us there. And I see it a lot with the new generation now. Like going to gatherings now and stuff, everyone's warming up.
I love it.
Everyone's conditioning. Everyone's talking about what are we gonna do for a workout? I'm like, whoa, you guys actually train outside doing just throwing flips. So I think the needle is moving. I think people are realizing that they do need to take care of themselves outside of just chunking tricks and slamming energy drinks. Because that was the whole, that was like Phil Gibbs' point back in the day, like the whole Australian crew, just the whole like chugging energy drinks as much as possible, throwing crazy tricks that maybe you shouldn't be throwing, but now you have all the energy in the world to do it. They got crazy skills, but they've also left us with a lot of lessons.
And so hopefully that's what the young, and I feel like it is, like you just said, like that needle is starting to move, where the younger generation has learned from us, like, because they hear these stories and stuff, like the outside world that's outside of tricking and like tumbling or just like acrobatic stuff in general, they don't know much about our lives, but like in the tricking world, no matter how big you are on social media and stuff, everyone's super close and everyone hears stories and everyone knows, and so it's like the younger generation's definitely learned a lot from our stupidity in a way, but like you just said, it's good to have some fun with it sometimes, but still make it smart.
Yeah, exactly. I think you can definitely do both. I really do.
Yeah.
So I like that you gave a piece of advice for athletes. I was definitely going to ask you that. But do you have a piece of advice for somebody trying to get into the influencer realm or trying to market their skills for anything really? Because I think that you've done most of it now. Done a lot of it now.
One piece of advice I'd have for people trying to go down that route of like, growing as a social media athlete or like a brand is just being consistent. That's super important, because there are a lot of times where I have people asking me like, why am I not seeing any growth? Like I'm putting out like banger content and stuff, and it's like, well, how often? They're like, well, every couple weeks, and it's like, you're gonna lose so much retention really quickly. And so when people want to follow somebody, normally it's because they want to see more of what they're doing. And if you're not giving them more, it's like, that's it. So I think that's a big part of it, is consistency and having quality content, not just putting anything out there just because to have all that extra stuff. So you got to find that line of making sure you're putting out content consistently, and it doesn't have to be every day, obviously, but like every couple days or something, but making sure it's quality content. And quality content doesn't even necessarily mean the hardest tricks, the hardest skills you can do. It's just like, make sure it's filmed well. Something so simple as making sure it's filmed well, using a decent camera. You don't need like a super nice like vlogging camera, like your phone. I've filmed everything on my phone forever. And you can use your iPhone to film, but just make sure that whoever's filming it is not doing this and it just, I would say consistency and quality are huge with growing on any platform right now, and just being you, just being real. Don't try to be someone you're not on social media. You see that too often, and then it's like it's a whole nother story when the camera's off. Just be authentic, because if you do gain some sort of a following, and then when someone meets you in person, they're like, you're not at all like I pictured you would be. Like, I get that sometimes, but for my physicality, because people are like, oh wow, you're a lot shorter than I thought, stuff like that. But it's like when people meet me, they're like, wow, you're exactly how I pictured you, like you're exactly how I thought you'd be like as a person.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, to come across as who you really are. So being authentic, consistency, and quality in your content, I find to be huge. And yeah, with that, and then don't be afraid to collaborate with friends and stuff. Like, have other people in your stuff sometimes. Like, obviously, if you're trying to reach out to someone huge like Logan Paul or something, be like, hey, let's do a collab. Like, no, it's not gonna. That's not how that works.
Wasn't there a viral video on that? Was it him? Who was it? It was so funny, man.
Maybe
this guy was trying to get a collab or whatever with one of these guys, and they were just like, bro, who are you? You snuck into this party. You snuck on this stage, and you expect me to just like give you everything.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
So it's bizarre, but it's like, and so that's where it's. I feel like you're just not being an authentic human when you're doing stuff like that.
For sure.
And so that's where that authenticity is like, be authentic, just be you, and collab with friends and stuff, and then maybe these friends that you have, because like now my friend circle, a lot of them are influencers and stuff, but they're all also authentic people who are posting good quality content, and also like friends that I have through flipping. It's like, so Z, Pasha, all those guys, it's like they're friends, and we all do something that we all like to do, and we do it consistently, and we have fun doing it, and like the world likes to see groups also. So like, even though you get a lot of influencer houses and stuff, like, which I find hilarious, like I don't know if that's ever the best idea, because you get all these like alpha males or like big egos in a house, and then it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It's just not. But just being with like other friends who are like-minded and doing and filming similar stuff is also a way, because you guys can feed off of each other, and that helps out like with growth as well. So there's a lot of stuff there that can all factor into it, but mainly just being consistent, having good quality, and being a good person.
Cool. And then just as a follow-up, might be for me, but I'm sure for the people listening as well, like, what do you feel brands are looking for when they look at a page? Because I think that since you've been kind of on both sides of it a lot, and you've gotten to talk to some of these people on higher ends, like maybe you have some insight as to like what they are trying to look for when they're seeing an athlete that they want to use. So kind of feeding off of what I just said about like your content, making sure it's good quality is something that's huge. And so you might be throwing like the craziest tricks ever done in history, but a brand doesn't know that that's the craziest trick ever done in history. Yeah. And so with consistency, make sure like it's also authentic training. So like I said, it's not showing only like the biggest, hardest skills you've ever done. Like, show fails, and like just have fun stuff to where when a brand is scrolling through and looking at stuff, whoever's looking, it's not the brand itself. Like if it was Nike, it's gonna be some rep from Nike. Right. And when they're scrolling through, it's an actual person. So when they're looking at your stuff, they wanna be entertained in a way. And so when they find it, and entertaining doesn't necessarily mean funny, but like they wanna be entertained by like what you're doing. And if they are, that's like what's gonna bring attention to this person and this brand. And so that goes hand in hand with posting consistently and having good quality. Because if you do post crazy viral videos, and that's obviously going to get some attention of brands, but you're posting once a month, they're like, we don't know if we really want to work with someone like that, because they're gonna like, who knows if they'll really drive the numbers for us. Like, what benefit would they get from it if you're not actually like a consistent social media person, I guess. I don't even want to use the word influencer really, but if you're not consistently showing that you're serious about taking that route, then why would they want to work with you, you know? For sure, yeah. So the consistency not only for the algorithm and for your followers, but just to show that you are dedicated to what you're doing.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
Dedication.
And then also, I really like the entertainer performance aspect, because a lot of times, like, yes, we want to be authentic for sure, but also making it good for the person on the other side of the screen. So I think that's the kind of content you're talking about too.
Exactly.
Not just like, being crazy for the sake of it when that's not you, but like showing an entertaining part of your life. Like, oh, I'm going to a party or something. Maybe it'd be cool to get a clip here or something like that.
Just showing like real life also. So
highlights of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that is entertaining. You're not being someone you're not. You're just being you. And it doesn't always have to be the exact same form of content. Like I said, like hardest tricks in the gym, like a party here, flipping around, having fun the other night, like stuff like that. Like people want to see that you're a real person, not just some robot that's trying to beat the algorithm with, posting just like hopefully something that's going to go viral. Like they want to see that you're also a human being. You know? Because at the end of the day, these brands, I mean, some of these bigger brands, they don't necessarily. Okay, I don't want to put it like they don't see you as a human being, but you have to remember that whoever is looking through the content, it's not like the CEO of the brand. Yeah. It is some marketing person or someone that runs their social media. And like those are the people that are reaching out to you, and they're real people and they like stuff that real people like. So
yeah, exactly. Think like a muggle.
Yeah, think like a muggle. So that's why it's not like a lot of the content I post, I will post some really hard, crazy skills and stuff, but sometimes it's just something super flashy, like just a simple sitting, well not simple because not a lot of people can do it, but just like something so basic, not even basic.
But simple for you, easy for you, something that you wouldn't celebrate.
Exactly, so sitting handspring to flash kick with slow-mo in the right spot. The normal, like the average person is gonna look at that and be like, he's a wizard.
Yeah, totally.
That's Harry Potter, but darker. And and like so maybe some of the trickers, like you see some of my content or like other people in the acrobatic stuff and they're like, oh yeah, he does this all the time and it is what it is. You're still like, it looks cool, but you're not very impressed. But you have to remember that the average human being does not see the stuff that we're doing, regardless of how difficult it is. And so sometimes posting stuff like that where it's like something simple to you and maybe simple to other acrobatic people, but if it's filmed well and the quality's good, it's going to blow people's minds.
Yeah, I read something or saw something on social media where it was saying like 5% of people go to the gym.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So can you imagine the percentage of people that can flip or do anything that we're doing?
Something that I say a lot to people, like when I'm teaching people or people are like, we want to come to the gym with you and train someday, and I'm like, hell yeah, do it. Yeah. And they want to learn something like just a backflip, and I'm like, that's awesome. Yeah. Like and when people do get it, or when I'm coaching someone, they're like, well, all I can do is a backflip, or all I can do is a front flip. I'm like, you're already 99%. You're ahead of 99% of the world right now.
For sure, yeah.
Probably more than that. So you already have a leg up on pretty much every person on the planet. Yeah. So why not do more with it, Become that 0.001%,
For sure.
People need to not downplay their own skill. Like, obviously don't be cocky about it, but don't downplay the skills that you're working on and the skills that you're doing, because if that's like something difficult and hard to you, then that's your reality and that's true. Like, and if you're working on something new and like working on skills that you find hard that other people might not, that's still awesome. Like, that's a dope journey, and we've all gone through that journey.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. For sure, you gotta, and that's like a theme of like what I'm getting with this podcast too, is like you gotta start where you're at and just stay consistent, and you'll get there.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
All right. Let me check my little book, see if there's anything else I really wanted to ask you, but I honestly think we're pretty good here.
I know I talk too much.
No, you're good. You're good. Oh yeah, I got a couple more. All right. Where do you see the tricking / movement community in the next 5 to 10 years? And you could take that as however you want.
Yeah, I get that one a lot actually. I see it from what I've known it as over, because I've been training now for 12 years. I've been in the tricking community, and I've seen the growth exponentially over the years, skill wise. And now within the past few years, I've seen where it's starting to go routes of like more people doing stunts and people doing music videos or stuff like that. And what I'm noticing is that like it is becoming a legitimate career path for people, which I find amazing. Mm-hmm. And so whether or not it's going to become an Olympic sport or something, like, to me, who cares? It's like, if people are doing this and finding passion in it, but it can also be a career, I think that's amazing. And I see that is where it's going for a lot of the community. And I find that awesome, because when we first started, like, when we were trickers, we were all bums. Like,
for sure.
We're just hanging out in houses with our friends and training and just living carefree and wild, which is awesome. But for the people who are serious about it, it's becoming something that can legitimately be their life, and in a good way, like not just addicted, because there are people who are addicted to the gym or certain sports. It's like that is their life, but they're not doing anything with it. And so like people are now starting to, in the parkour freerunning community, in tricking, in tumbling, in gymnastics, like all this stuff, it's getting a lot more attention. And I feel like a lot of us as athletes have helped with growing that attention online, and the world's starting to notice it a lot more, which is amazing. And so I mean, you working with a lot of stunt people and working on a lot of stunt people, you're seeing like these are people who probably had a traditional martial arts background or a tricking background and stuff like that, and now it is their career, and it's a lucrative career. And so aside from stunts, like you get people doing like movies, like actual going into acting and stuff, so they're finding segues into things of like other ways they can do what they're doing, but making it still be fun and actually make a living from it. And so I don't know, that's where I see it going more so, is like more and more of us are about to start making it a legitimate career path, and I feel like that's good and inspiring to a lot of the younger people who are starting to get into it.
And to their parents.
And to their, yeah, absolutely. And so,
yeah, they see a future in it, you know. A lot of parents are scared about their kid doing something that won't have a future. Not that life's all about that, but
now there's like you get like crazy action movies, like especially obviously like Marvel movies and stuff, and these kids are looking at these superheroes and they're like, wow, these people are absolutely like, these are superheroes, like they're doing the craziest stuff. And then like at a certain age you're going to catch on and be like, wow, yeah, so those are stuntmen doing that stuff. I could do that. And then they're going to start going to like, they're going to start doing their research to find out how they can get the stunts, and they're going to end up at a gym at a session with us, and they're going to learn some stuff from us. And then like it's such a cool thing, I think, right now. Like social media obviously has a lot of its downsides, of course, but there's a lot of good with it, and I feel like that it is helping a lot with people seeing more tricking, seeing more tumbling, seeing more trampoline, more parkour freerunning, and when the right people see it, it becomes a huge opportunity for the people being seen. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent right there.
No, that's perfect. I hope it goes, and I do notice that, and I think that like you can always look at both sides. Like I always see like the average age of trickers like going up because we're all getting older and all our friends are getting older. So obviously that's our perspective, but it's also getting younger.
It is.
So it's just getting bigger.
Yes, exactly.
It's just like literally 3D expansion is how we're moving here, which is awesome to me because there's more opportunities, and I hope that keeps happening.
And I think it will. I think it will.
I do too.
Obviously, like cinematography is only getting that much better, and movies and stuff that a lot of our friends are working on are just like getting that much better, and so more people are getting more work to do this stuff. And yeah, I feel like trickers and people in the acrobatic realm have gotten their foot in the door now to make it a legitimate thing, and not just for movies and TV and stuff obviously, but like I said, like music videos, or some trickers go on tour with huge artists like Justin Bieber and stuff like that, and Chris Brown, and so it's becoming something huge. And now we've gotten our foot in the door where all we got to do is open the door, all the way, and we're there. And I feel like that is where it's going, and that's kind of where it's all started within the past 5 years, I think, is where it's gotten a lot bigger, obviously.
Sure.
And I feel like it's only going to go up from here, which is great.
We got a lot of eyes on us, so thanks for that.
Yeah.
You're helping with that for sure. You're in the front of that. Before we close, are there any projects that you're working on now, like personal projects, anything that you're pushing for yourself or for the community? What's going on with you?
Well, I mean, for myself, definitely trying to build my own brand, like the Domitrick brand, and so just getting more into doing merch again and stuff, and trying to be more consistent with YouTube, because I definitely focus on all the other platforms. I don't focus enough on legitimate YouTube stuff where people can see more of the behind the scenes of my life. People just see all the cool highlights and all the crazy flips and all the traveling, but they don't see what's going on behind the scenes. And I feel like that's also important, and people are interested in seeing that, and not just from me, but from anyone. Like they want to know what's going on outside of what they're seeing all the time.
Right.
So just, I mean, that's a big goal this year, is just more consistency myself, holding myself more accountable. Because like I just said, that's huge with growing on social media. If that's your goal, you got to be consistent. And I'm very consistent in a lot of ways, but there are some ways that I'm lacking. So picking up where I hadn't been as consistent is huge, I think, for me this year. And then I'm also getting my skydiving license next month, which is going to be crazy. I've never even gone skydiving. Or not, well, I guess between February and March, I'm going to Houston for a month.
So you're just going to you're going to do a lot of dives, a lot of courses.
Yeah. So it's, I think, because it's my friend Tanner Brungart and I. So it was his idea, and he's like, hey, I think he's gone skydiving one time.
Okay.
And so he's like, hey, I'm doing this where I'm going to be going skydiving and getting my license, and I want you to be a part of it. And he knows, like, that's been a life goal of mine my whole life is skydiving. I love the feeling of falling. I love being up high. I have no issue with heights at all, and it's always been just like a goal to do. And then he's like, yeah, so we're gonna do this, and I'm like, all right, count me in. So yeah, him and I, we're gonna go.
That's awesome.
Spend a month jumping almost every day, and on days off, I'm gonna get some training in. I'm gonna try to do some clinics, seminars, private lessons, stuff like that, because gotta make the money somehow. So
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but
cool. Where's that at again?
Houston. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. All right. Well, maybe I'll come by for a dive or two.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
I've done it once.
Have you?
I've just done it once.
I'm so excited.
It's insane. It feels like mentally it was similar to what I thought, which is like, once I decided I would do it, I'd be okay with doing it, and like I already committed before I got there type thing. But physically, I was very surprised.
Yeah.
Like the wind felt like it was literally cutting my face.
That's what I've heard.
Like for real. Like I actually checked my cheek. I'm like, yo, am I bleeding? Like it's so like you're going like 200 miles an hour or something. Like you're going fast and towards Earth from a very high up place.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy.
I want to get to the point where I'm up there and like diving and like, cause I've seen some recent videos that have gone pretty viral of people like skydiving, but like looking like they're dancing upside down, like moonwalk. Like just, I want to, I want to do just cool stuff while I'm up. Obviously the first
layouts
couple,
can you fit in there?
We'll see. And then just get lost and pull my parachute, but I'm upside down. I don't know about that one.
No.
Yeah, I know the first few jumps, I'm obviously not going to be doing anything too extravagant because I'm still going to be like...
Well, you're going to have someone attached to you.
Yeah.
How many jumps until you don't have someone attached to you?
I don't know, actually. That's a good question.
Yeah.
So I know that we're going to be doing jumps and stuff with people attached to us in the beginning, but we're also going to be doing a lot of like learning course-wise because we're trying to get like a full-on license to... I don't know if it's necessarily going to be like an instructor's license, but we're getting, because I don't know what the classes are. I think we're getting Class A, and I don't know if there's like A, B, C, D. I don't know.
Yeah, It'd be interesting if you could become an instructor. Because would you be interested in doing that or?
Someday, yeah.
There
are a lot of random things that I've thought about doing,
yeah.
and I'm like, if I could dedicate enough time, I absolutely would. Like, I think it'd be dope to be a pilot.
Yeah.
Like I've thought about it. I don't think I could dedicate enough of my time to do it because I think it seems like a cool idea, but I don't know if it's like if I want to drop everything I'm doing to do that. Like I don't know if I want to change my whole life career.
That's the thing.
But I think acting would be dope too. Like that's something I've thought about possibly trying out, like acting, which obviously like with a lot of our friends doing stunts and stuff, and some of them doing more acting and stuff now, I think it'd be a pretty cool thing to just why not try it, And it helps that auditions and stuff now are like through it's virtual pretty much. So
I see many people doing it through their phone.
Yeah.
They'll film an audition on their phone. They'll just have some decent lighting.
Yeah, and then you just send it in that way, which I feel like COVID definitely had a big part in that. But I think it's helpful for a lot of people too, because you don't have to worry about, you might get there late, and like especially if you're somewhere like LA or here where like the movie scene is huge. Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with that traffic, and then there's that possibility. If you're 1 minute late, it's like, you just blew your audition type of thing. Where now you just film it and make sure you have it perfectly right and send it in, and then they're like, yeah, we want this. So I think that'd be a cool. I don't know, just why not? So that might be something I want to try this year too. Is just try out acting.
Well, if you try it out in Atlanta, let me know. I'm interested too. Maybe we could
have our own show.
Yeah, that's it.
That'd be crazy, actually.
That'd be pretty dope. Let's try it.
We can brainstorm.
I think we could do it.
Yeah.
We're pretty funny.
With this camera off, we're hilarious.
We're more funny, but
we might get in trouble for some of that stuff saying it on this camera, but in our show, as long as it's like
It could be a different thing.
mature.
A different thing. But thank you, brother. Really appreciate it. Where can people find more about you and your stuff? I think you've made it pretty easy. That is not a Dom Trick
this is
shirt.
not Dom Trick shirt. No, this is Happiness Project. Which I think is a really cool thing. So I'm going to talk about that really quick, and then I'll talk about my own stuff, because this has nothing to do with me. They just send me stuff.
That's cool.
It's like a mental health awareness brand, which I find awesome. And so, yeah, they have just merch and like all kinds of cool messages and stuff on their social media about just the importance of mental health and stuff like that. And really good messages to the youth and adults, just all kinds of stuff, which I find really important, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
So Happiness Project, look them up. It's awesome. Support them if you'd like. And then with my own stuff, Domitrick, Dom-I-Trick. If you type that in on any social media platform, that's how you'll be able to find me.
Nice.
Even though my YouTube name is Dom Lewis, if you type in Domitrick, it'll take you to my page. Instagram, Snapchat, all of it, like TikTok. It's all Domitrick.
He's big on all of them, so find him.
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right, man. Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
That was a good dab.
Yeah, nice. That's for the show.